So the first thing that we're going to do is to install the Python package manager. So I will accept install. So once it's installed, now we have to install Ansible. So type install Ansible. In the meantime, let me come to this admin host and create the directory, call it cluster. So we have to wait until the installation finish. So we have used Ansible because we want to have control over other nodes, right? And another thing is we used Ansible because in Ansible we want to build our image, right? And then push it to Docker Hub, right? I have specified here Amazon ECR, but I will not cover it in this lab. But instead I will use Docker Hub. But in the next labs I will use ECR. So in this lab I will use Docker Hub. So in the Ansible server we will have the artifacts that will be deployed by the code deploy, right? But in reality, code deploy only ask the Ansible server to retrieve the artifacts stored in the Amazon S3, and then once the Ansible server installed that artifact, then it give an instructions to that host, in our case Ansible server, to run this script. So Ansible server will build the image, then push it to the core hub. Then the master node will use that image to deploy it on the worker node. Then we will be able to interact with our worker node. So now what I'm going to do is switch back to Azure user. I type Ansible playbook version clear. I will create a directory where my inventory file resides. It's under etc Ansible and Ansible, and then I will create file sudo touch Ansible quality host. Another thing I will going to install is the Docker, because Ansible, to build the image or to build the image from the artifacts that it retrieve from S3, it must use Docker to build that image. So sudo apt install docker.au. So if this user try to run this command docker ps, it does not have the permission to do that. So to enable this user to run the docker commands, we have to use this user in the Docker group via the command user mod -eg, and then the name of the group that want that user to add it to it, Docker, and the user is Azure, and then if we switch back to Azure user and type docker ps, now I'm able to run that command. Another thing is try to generate SSH key pair on the Ansible server, right, and then copy it on the admin. The first thing I'm going to do is try type SSH copy ID, then the name of the user, and then the IP address 10.10.1.53. I have already enabled the password authentication, if you still remember when we tried to copy the admin config to the admin host. Yes, and the password. Now, for example, if I type file, call it .txt, and then I use the scopy and then txt, and then specify the host, the IP address, and then copy it. So if I come back here now and type ls, it's created.